Good evening and welcome to week two. I hope you've been able to navigate through our Canvas course easily. But as always, if you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out and I will always respond within 24 hours of receiving your message. In week two, we are going to focus on the role that mass media plays on books and specifically more so on the process of banning books in our society. And I want you to pause for a second and just think about the first time you heard about a book being banned. And may it be a book that you particularly enjoyed. How did you feel about that book? How did you feel about it being banned? And more importantly, what did you do about it? One of the first books that I remember being banned was a book called The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. We read it in high school when I was back in Scotland, and I fell in love with a lot of the American culture through that book. S.E. Hinton was an amazing author. Her characters resonated with me, but if you are familiar with the book, you'll understand there is a lot of bad language in the book, and there is a lot of violence between rival gangs. And so many schools decided to ban it. I was upset. I wrote to the author, who was awesome and actually wrote me back, and it's a letter I still have to this day. But then I also started to investigate to see what I could do to get this book back in the schools because I don't believe it should have been banned. And so, what are some of the things that you could do if a book that you care about is being banned? Do you care enough to do something about it? And how do you think social media plays into that? While social media is never responsible for the banning of books, books are banned typically through legal, cultural, or institutional processes. The social media can play a role in discussions about the book bans, discussions about censorship, and as well as related topics. And so here are some of the things I want you to think about as we go through this week. Discussions happen all the time on social media. And this is a great way for people to come together and talk about books that are being banned, whether they are for or against it. You can also find this is also a way for some people to talk about books in a manner that they would not normally vocalize because they can hide behind this online persona that they may have. Um, it, Social media also enables individuals to advocate against book bans and come together, and they can use many different platforms to mobilize support throughout the country. So it's not just your small group of friends that are helping out to help you stop books from being banned. And then in some cases, the banned content can be shared online. We laugh because one of the best ways to get someone to read something is to ban it because then everybody's wants to read it. Do you think that's true? Do you think that's a good marketing ploy? What are the pros and cons of that? Think about that as we go through this week. We talked a little bit about discussions. It's also a really good way to make people more aware of things that are happening in their neighborhood that they may not be aware of. Organizations that monitor censorship, such as freedom of expression groups, they may use social media to track instances of book banning and censorship. That can help raise awareness and prompt action to address those issues. Really easy for people to jump on the bandwagon when they see that there's already a cause out there. And that is one of the things that mass social media can do for a cause. So, as we begin our week, the focus is on banned books. There are some articles that you will read. There will also be a discussion post. And I am going to sign off now and I will see you online. Thank you for listening. Have a great week.